And I also understand that the council at the last workshop had some initial thoughts about what types of ordinances they'd like to have come back to them, what changes, and I can certainly do that so that the next time you look at the ordinances on marijuana, they'll be in what you recommended for consideration, and you can have a public hearing on those. So I just recommend that you limit testimony tonight on only the issue of whether or not the interim zoning ordinance should be extended rather than any of the marijuana ordinances, just to save time and to ensure that people provide their public testimony at the appropriate opportunity. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions from council?
Yes.
Just to clarify, while we're discussing a 6-month extension, if we come up with appropriate legislation in the meanwhile, we don't have to let the full 6 months run out. We can adopt something next month if we come to consensus on what to adopt.
Well, yeah, you can shorten it. What the procedure is that you draft up an ordinance and you send it to the Department of Commerce, and you usually do that within 60 days before you do your actual adoption, and that's what they call a notice of intent to adopt. And then you do SEPA, and then consider the ordinance, have a public hearing.
Next month is ambitious, but if we actually did come up with something, we could adopt it.
And then you could
start
terminate
the process.
Right. You don't have to take the full 6 months, no.
Any other questions from council? Seeing none at this time, I'll open it up for public comment on the hearing regarding the extension of moratorium. Interim. So I have Dwayne Gross.
Hey, council, it's been a while. And I've been hiding, but anyway, Dwayne Gross, 122 3rd Avenue Northwest. I would say let's not do any more moratoriums. This has been going on for years now, it seems like, and I'd just like to see us do something actually happen. I don't know what happens if you don't have a moratorium. I'm not sure when the current moratorium ends. Is it soon?
It's already expired, the old moratorium. This is an interim zoning ordinance.
Yeah, for the zoning. Anyway, I would say just go forward and let's do something and stop. If you have to make it a moratorium again, or for the zoning ordinance, don't make it 6 months. Make it something shorter. If you think you're going to do something in the next month, make it 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. Let's not have it for 6 months. It just makes it easier for this to drag out longer and longer and longer. It seems like this is taking up a lot of everybody's time. I keep hearing we're always talking about this. We've been doing it forever. I hear this from a lot of different people involved with the city of Pacific. So I'd just like to see this. I'm not going to comment on anything else because I'm just supposed to talk about this. But let's do something. Let's not do this. If we do it, make it 45 days or 60 days. Don't make it 6 months. People's livelihoods depend on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more public comment regarding the interim zoning ordinance extension? Go ahead,
Mark, 603 3rd Avenue Southeast Pacific. I think the moratorium, or whatever you're calling it, on the marijuana business continues to be the right action for our community at this time. 2 reasons. The first is the very fluid state of legal thought in the state of Washington. 5 ban was just upheld last week with the court upholding the state attorney general's finding regarding I-502. In fact, as I understand it, he said, while it permits cities to allow recreational pot businesses, it does not require communities to do so. At least 28 other cities in the state have such bans, including many of our neighbors. Continuing to wait while those pieces sort themselves out will give you some really valuable information as you move forward. The second reason really is what the process has been in the city of Pacific so far. I keep hearing, we've taken so long, we've taken so long, we've taken so long. You haven't had anything to talk about except just recently. And as I've watched in the last couple of months, the resolutions that you move here in council change when they go over to planning commission, and they change again, and they change again. There's not been consistency. Actions that you have taken, I've seen you take them here, I read your minutes, and they're in your minutes, and they don't show up when they get moved to the next one. You've been chosen to elect to follow and represent the best interests in our community. I think that only happens when there's transparency and consistency in what we do in public. Those whom you expected to review your work and give informed, thoughtful input have not done so. I think your process needs to be sorted out, and 6 months will give you time to do that. While livelihoods of a couple of businessmen might be at stake, this affects lives all around us. The stakes are too high. The growing, processing into higher grade drugs and the retail sale of those drugs in our community directly, immediately, and significantly impact the most vulnerable members of our community. We can take the time to do it right. Democracy takes time. It takes time to disagree and work through disagreements. And it's been clear in the hearings I've had, the community disagrees. There's not agreement. There's not consensus. Give it time. One last quick comment about that. People say, I'm just tired of hearing about the marijuana issue. We've talked about it long enough. You're going to need to do a paradigm shift. When it comes to dealing with drugs, or anything related to it, any of you who've been impacted in your life know this is true. You will never be done. It's one of the unspoken, unintended consequences of the approval of the legal drug market. It's the nature of the beast. You'll never be done with it. It will return over and over and over again for your attention. It just will. Get used to it. Figure out how to manage your time. But no, it will never go away. It's the nature. Get ready. It won't be resolved. It'll always come back for a little bit more. Thank you.
Thank you. So is there anyone else that would like to speak tonight on the extension of the interim zoning ordinance?
I just want to, they're just,
Jean Fancher, 37248 55th Avenue South. Since I listen to the radio all the time, I hear little news snippets that are very interesting, and today on NPR, there was a comment by a physician or somebody, expert in the drug addiction business, I believe from the University of Washington, but I could be wrong. 1 person in 9 who is a casual marijuana user will become an addicted marijuana user. So the facts are, this is an addictive drug, it has long-term consequences, and I would like to say that if one moves into something too soon without the structure set up to deal with those who are addicted, or to deal with the traffic impacts, there are 4 medical marijuana dispensaries down on Stewart, and anywhere from 4 in the afternoon to 9:30 at night, the parking lots are full. The traffic impacts are unheard of now, and so I know this interim zoning ordinance has already been adopted, and this is a perfunctory hearing, but just goes to say to keep with the interim zoning ban and go slow. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak tonight regarding the interim zoning ordinance?
Gary Niski, 102 Beaver Avenue. I support the ordinance. If she needs more time to work on it, the city attorney, well, why not? There's just an article in the Auburn Reporter that they're going to let them start their businesses up over there, so it don't take long to walk over there or get your car and go get your stuff. So, might as well just work it out.
So is there anyone else that would like to speak tonight on the interim zoning ordinance? second call for public comment regarding the interim zoning ordinance. Last and final call for public comment regarding the interim zoning ordinance. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Thank you. Moving on the agenda now is audience comment. I have a couple of sheets up here. First is Angie. Carol. I didn't know how to say your last name.
It's Day, or DeRay. Okay. So that's my name.
Name and address for the record, please.
Angie Day, 722 3rd Avenue, Northeast, Pacific, 98047. I'm here to talk about public health. And you guys probably have all heard that public health is tight on money and we don't have the funds to be able to continue our clinics, our services as we have them now. And starting next year, they're proposing that they will close Auburn, Federal Way, White Center, North Shore, and a good handful or more with satellite clinics. The Auburn site here has 2 satellite clinics serving Muckleshoot, and the furthest Enumclaw, still King County site. And with Auburn, where was that number? It's about 10,000 clients that we serve, and a lot of those live in this area, in Pacific, Algona, and nearby. And another number that was given to me today, 2,500,000 is the number in projected loss of food dollars that impacts our cities, our communities here, businesses. And I'm here to ask that this council come together and discuss, have a special meeting to discuss the problem and the impacts of it. Even though this isn't, it's a health department that's not in Pacific, we're neighboring cities. So that's what my ask is today, and I would hope to see that Pacific would get to a point where they could make a commitment and oppose the public health cuts, and with collaboration find a way to support or find funding to be able to continue. Auburn and Federal Way both have made resolutions just last month in August that they're pro-public health and finding means to find a solution. Another thing that I would like to point out, if things do continue and the closures have to be made, all of them, and hopefully not all of them will be, but 4 sites, that's a lot. So I just want the council to be aware of the impacts and some of the things that I can think of. This is just me. Nobody can come to the realization that these kind of cuts can hurt juvenile delinquency. That could increase, homelessness could increase, and with that, just the more intense need for services. And I wanted to just say, maybe take a step across the street to 7-Eleven and Albertsons. That's just right here on the, you might as well call it Pacific, and you'd find the high need, the desperation in some people, and I think that would just grow. So I hope I have your attention and that you guys could take a look at what can be done.
Could you please send some of that information to our police person and we can refer it over to the human services?
Sure, will do. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, I have Dana.
Hi, Dana Rudisell, 213 3rd Avenue Northwest Pacific. Mine's not anything like what's been talked about, but I was asked from my son's dojo at the Auburn YMCA, and we've all tried to brainstorm fundraisers. And I've recently taken up, in the last couple of years, running, and I've been on numerous fundraisers for schools, and all the way up in Mossy Rock, and it's a great community thing, and I'd like to see if I could put a 5K run on in our community to support the youth athletic program at the Y for his dojo. And I need to know what I need to do, I don't know. I was told I had to come to council to ask about it.
So, well, and I think we could refer that to the committee to discuss further, and I think probably we would like to get maybe Joanne on board as well to discuss this. If you could get the information to the city clerk, and we could take a look at it and see which committee we should refer that to and start the conversation.
Okay.
Okay, and Amy would be glad to get that information.
All right.
Thank you so
So
much.
just take it to our office, or?
Yeah, that'd be great. If you take it to, like, the finance wing does, I'll make sure that.
Okay.
Do that. If you ask her, she'll even come up. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to say something that is not on tonight's agenda? Come on up, Mrs. Kate.
Kate Hope, 102, Alder Lane South. So I've come to beg for forgiveness. As you know, I come every year and say the same thing around this time of year. Hi, do you know what September 17th is? Oh, come on.
Constitution Day.
Thank you.
The Daughters of the Revolution.
Thank you, I'm not that old. So, I know I'm late, but I also know you have a workshop, and I've come to beg for the proclamation from the City of Pacific proclaiming, September 17th, Constitution Day, September 17th through 23rd, Constitution Week. And just a reminder that we live by the Constitution that was written all those years ago. So I would like to beg the mayor for a proclamation.
I would love to do that for you. If you could please give the information to Amy, she'll get it.
Thank you.
You're just a very busy girl right now. Just piling on Amy. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak tonight? Something that's not on tonight's